Welcome to another episode of Sports Vibe. I'm your host, Arnav Sarkar here, special guest for this episode, Matt Mangam. You might remember him from an episode we did last summer. Also, did WRSU with me, had sports editor for the Daily Targ, also covers soccer for Hudson River Blue, which we're going to talk about. A lot's been going on in the soccer world, which is why I wanted to have this specific episode. We'll also talk some Yankees and some baseball, some Rutgers, NBA Summer League, all the good stuff that fans will like to see. But I mean, like, I guess first of all, like, how have you been? I know it's been a little while. How's like all the soccer stuff been going? How's life been treating you lately?
Yeah, I mean, it's summertime, but still pretty crazy. I met life a ton this summer, coming from NYCFC as well, Yankee Stadium City Field. So
Mm.
definitely keeping me busy. I've been good though.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, I see on your story a lot. You're always either like at Yankee Stadium or like City
Mm,
Field or at MetLife, especially with the Club World Cup going on. There's been a lot of games there.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that brings us kind of to for the semifinals of we could just start with the Club World Cup. I mean, I guess first of all, which games did you like go to? Like, I know you went to both the semifinals and the final. Did you also and you went to some group stage games? Did you go to like
Yeah.
all the games that happened at MetLife
Um,
Stadium or most of
no,
them?
no, not all of them. Just a decent amount though. Hold on, I have a doc I can pull up. But the group stage games were pretty decent. They were good. I was just always looking forward though to the knockout games, obviously with the bigger
Right,
teams.
right, right.
Um, So the first game I went to was Palmeiras to Al Hilal nil at MetLife. That was on June 19th, and
Mm-hmm.
then didn't go to the next two. I think it was. I think I was just busy. One of them I think was Dortmund, another team, whatever. But then I went to the final Group A group stage game at MetLife. Porto. It was Porto 4, Al Hilal 4. Crazy game.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Both
I
those
remember
teams
I
were
saw
still
that.
alive in the group
Mhm.
when they entered the game. They still had a chance to make it to the knockouts, but because Inter Miami tied with Palmeiras, they eliminated them. But that game was still insane. Abu Ali had a hat trick, which was pretty cool. And then that was a group stage. There was a round 16 at MetLife. Then there was quarterfinals. There was only one game at MetLife. It was Real Madrid versus Dortmund, which was a pretty good game. 3-2, which was actually insane because it was 2-0 up until the last few minutes, and then there was like three goals out of nowhere in the last like 5 minutes, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and then back to back semifinals, Chelsea, Fluminense, and PSG Real Madrid. I mean, two very different games. Chelsea, I knew was going to win. Beat Fluminense. It was pretty comfortable. Kind of a boring game, honestly. But then PSG smacked Real Madrid 4-0, and I'm like, whoa, like this PSG team
Yeah.
is actually better than I thought. I mean, they won the UCL, so
Right.
obviously not discrediting that title, but to go and beat Real Madrid like that
Yeah.
shocked me. And then goes to the final, and I'm like, all right, Chelsea are good, but like they had a much easier path to the final than PSG. This
Sure.
should be a really comfortable PSG win. I mean, they had conceded just one goal in their 6 games heading into the final.
Mhm.
They were pretty much undefeated except for that one loss to Botafogo. I'm like, Chelsea's going to win this. PSG wins this game like 3-0, easily. Flip that. Chelsea win 3-0 and shock.
Yeah.
So craziness. Really,
Yeah.
really good tournament though. It actually, I'm surprised how good the tournament was.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a really entertaining tournament. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was certainly fun to watch a lot of games at MetLife
Hmm.
and just in general. But I mean, I guess what was your take on like I saw a lot of talk about like, the Brazilian and Argentinian teams and their fans and the global teams competing against like the top European clubs and like the impact that they in particular made because I guess they brought, the South American style of soccer and the passion, up here basically, and that really I think brought a big flavor to the tournament from what I understand.
Yeah, that's very important. I mean, some European teams had good fan bases. They're like Real Madrid. The Dortmund game, they were there were so many Real Madrid fans. The basically Milan was basically white because all the white Real Madrid kits. But then like
Right.
Dortmund, there was less fans. PSG didn't have as much fans as I thought. But you're right. The South American teams were great. I mean, I saw Fluminense fans and Palmeiras fans when they played at MetLife, and both of those fan bases were insane. Very very loud. I wish the MetLife press box the windows could open up because you
Mm,
can't really hear much.
yeah.
It's hard to hear the outside from the press box.
Right,
But those,
right.
those windows are pretty solid. They're pretty thick. But even with the windows, in front of me, I could still hear them. They're jumping up and down, waving flags. So they're really good fan bases. And on the pitch as well. I mean, Flamengo actually beat uh, Chelsea 3-1, upset them, and then obviously Chelsea beat a Brazilian team. They actually beat Palmeiras, and then they beat Fluminense in the semifinals. So they got their revenge against Brazilian sides, but we saw some upsets, and then Boca Juniors beat Bayern Munich, which also was another upset, Argentinian club over a European club.
Right.
But I mean, I think they performed better than they expected. Fluminense making a semifinal is still very respectable.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think the teams did well. I like that they were more competitive than I thought they would be, which is a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. It seemed, especially Fluminense making the semis, and Botafogo getting, upset win over PSG and some other ones. So I mean, definitely making runs. But I mean, I guess one of the major talking points of the tournament was like just how good PSG was going into the final. Like you said, they only allowed one goal, which was the 1-0 loss to Botafogo. Other than that, I mean, steamrolling teams. They obviously played Lionel Messi's Inter Miami in a huge round of 16, beat them 4-0, as like you guys like to say in soccer. And then they also beat Bayern 2-0. I mean, a lot of shutouts. Real Madrid, like you mentioned, 4-0, which is like a dominating win.
Yeah, and those aren't bad teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Those teams score a lot of goals. Like
right.
Those are good offenses. So I was surprised that they beat Real Madrid in that fashion, basically.
Yeah. Well, like, what could you say about, I guess, their play style? Because, I remember I was texting you, I was like, just the way they defend, they take the ball away, and their passes. It seemed like for, a while in the tournament, they were just, that much better than even the next best teams, where they made, they almost, made them look silly at, some points in time. And we're not talking about only Inter Miami, who's an MLS team. We're talking about some of the better opponents in this entire tournament.
Yeah, honestly, they press the hell out of teams. They pass the ball so well, the build-up play. They go from defense to offense super quick. They can hit you in a counterattack like that. I remember against Real Madrid, one of the goals, it was just I forgot. It was a 1-2 between Hakimi and Dembele, and then Hakimi laid it off to Fabio Ruiz for a second goal. That was such a great, well-worked goal. So they're just every player knows what they have to be. Their passes are always crisp and accurate. The movement off the ball is insane to get, make runs in behind.
Right.
Just everything is perfect. And then in the final, Chelsea, unexpectedly pressed PSG, won the ball back, and yes, they had less possession, but again, who cares? Because they hit them on the counterattack like PSG did in previous games, and it worked. I mean, think about the Cole Palmer goals. Those were because of quick build-up play goals. Palmer left wide open top of the box, left-footed finish, bottom right corner or keeper's right corner both times for his goals. And then Joao Pedro, Cole Palmer. It's another counterattack. Cole Palmer plays the ball over the top or plays a through ball, between two PSG center backs. Joao Pedro, who lifts it over Donnarumma, and they really brought the game to them. I mean, I didn't expect Chelsea to be that aggressive. I thought they were going to kind of just sit back, let PSG have the ball, and just kind of hope to get a goal off a counterattack. And they did, 3 goals.
Right.
But I didn't think it would be that effective. And that just proves that in soccer, possession doesn't mean anything at all. You could have a ton of the ball and you could still lose the game, and that happens all the time. You could have the ball and still not create many chances. I mean,
true,
PSG did create some chances. Robert Sanchez made some great saves, which is actually kind of shocking because he is not that good of a goalie, if you ask me. He's been shaky this tournament, but he had a good game. I know he won the Golden Glove award. I think that's a little BS because Donnarumma was fantastic. He had 5 clean sheets, 90% save percentage heading into the game. I know that he's on the winning team, Robert Sanchez, but I mean, let's be honest here. Donnarumma is miles better. We saw that this tournament. He just had those goals he couldn't do anything about. They were great finishes. To basically answer your question, I mean, they got great players, PSG, Ousmane Dembele. I think he's still going to win the Ballon d'Or. I think this game doesn't really matter. They still have 4 trophies this year. And even their defense, like I said, Donnarumma's a great goalie. Their fullbacks, Hakimi and Nuno Mensch, 2 of the best fullback duos in the world, I'd say. Marquinhos, great veteran center back, really, really experienced. And in the midfield, it doesn't really scream out to you on paper with Joao Neves, Vitinha, and Fabio Ruiz, but they're good. So they got a great team still. I know the scoreline says otherwise on Sunday, but they're still a really good team.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think they proved it during the tournament. But like what Chelsea did was, it's like, I guess they kind of gave them a taste of their own medicine, the way they, scored in transition, counterattacked.
Yeah.
Their defending was very good. They were like a lot of the players are blocking shots, and I guess that got the Chelsea fans like really excited. And then even when PSG had their chances, like they had some pretty good ones, like some fingertip saves and everything. And Sanchez was just like,
Yeah.
I mean, even with all the dominance of Chelsea, it still could have been a very different game if Sanchez just let even one or two of those go by, but he didn't. So kept a clean sheet. And on top of that, like, I mean, yeah, like you said, possession didn't really matter too much because, like, looking at the stats of this game, like, I mean, PSG actually had like 2/3 of the possession to one. They had almost double of the passes. They
Yeah.
still had like 8 shots on or 8 shots and 6 on goal, which is actually even more than Chelsea did, but they weren't able to execute. I mean, like I said, Sanchez saved the ball, but also Chelsea was very effective on the other side with scoring goals. And yeah, I mean, like the transition offense, the way they set it up for Palmer, and then the beautiful chip by Joao Pedro over Donnarumma, which I thought was like fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I guess like another question I want to ask you is like I guess what's the background on Cole Palmer and Joao Pedro, because I remember reading like well, Joao Pedro, he was on a different like English team just like 2 weeks ago, and he got added in the transfer window. He used to play for Fluminense, and then he ended up
Yeah.
beating them in his first games. I think scored a couple. So like, I guess do you know like kind of what their background is going into such a big moment where I guess both of them shined. And Cole Palmer, he had 2 goals and an assist, and now obviously he's like the talk of the town.
Yeah, I have some notes about them in a Google Doc of mine, actually. I just, like, kept notes basically at the tournament. Also with Cole Palmer, he's obviously still young, 23 years old, from Manchester City's academy, so they had him, didn't really, get much play time, and basically sold him to Chelsea, and he, was basically like, he came and started there and has been excelling. Let's see how many goals. He had a good amount of goals last year, 22 in the Prem last year. This year he had 15 in the Prem. For City, he was just making a lot of substitute appearances, so not really getting much opportunities. He only had about 6 goals across 4 seasons. Didn't really play much at
Mhm.
all. And like I said, went off to Chelsea, became an instant starter. So he just capped off his second season with the Londoners, and he's a great player. He's fantastic. He's going to be great. England's got a great guy on their hands. Another
Yeah,
great winger that they have. He's a winger. He's a 10. I guess you could say a striker too. I mean, they still have Harry Kane up top, but
right.
yeah, he's great. I knew he was obviously a great player. I've seen him in the Premier League all season long, but he wasn't really having a great Club World Cup tournament. He, obviously had 2 goals on Sunday, but before that, he only scored one other goal in the other 6 games. So, it wasn't really having a great
Hmm.
tournament. I don't
Yeah.
think Chelsea was really playing to their best the whole tournament at all. Some close games, they barely got by Palmeiras. I know they beat Benfica 4-1, but it went to extra time, keep in mind. So that game was close for most of it. Like I said, they lost to Flamengo in the group stage. They beat LAFC. So there was just a few results that were a little bit closer than you would want it to have been. But looking at Joao Pedro, yeah. So basically, I'm surprised they even got him because I know they wanted another striker. A lot of teams wanted Joao Pedro. He's from, like you said, Fluminense, played there. That's his boyhood club. They went to Watford in the Prem, got some games with them. It looked pretty decent. Got relegated with Watford. And then finally went over to Brighton. And again, looked good. He had potential. And yeah, Chelsea just decided to say, screw it, let's spend a lot of money on him. I think
Mhm.
about 70 million,
Oh,
something
wow.
like that. And he's 23 years old as well. But it's funny because when the tournament started and Chelsea was playing the group stage games, this guy was still on vacation in Brazil because the season was over for Brighton.
Right,
Obviously, there's no postseason for them,
right.
or not postseason, but they're not really in this tournament, so they're
Mhm.
not in the tournament. So he was done. All the players were off. He was on Brazil on a beach, hanging out. Actually, true. And then he joined Chelsea. Got in for the tournament. You can add. I think it was like 2 players. There was a rule or something like that. I remember looking it up, but you can add like 2 players in the summer transfer window. So he's one of them who came in. Um, you know, came off the bench against Palmeiras, only 36 minutes, so didn't really do much. Looked pretty decent. And then his first Chelsea start, Fluminense, scores 2 goals, passes boyhood club. And
Yeah.
then obviously has to start again on Sunday. You can't drop him. And he
Right.
scores again. So, two young players that came from, I guess, different backgrounds, but have been great. Joao Pedro, I mean, if you ask me, he's a starting striker now. They got 3 strikers on the roster: Pedro, Delap, and Nicholas Jackson. And I think that's the order of the depth chart. I think Pedro is number 1, Delap's number 2, and Nicholas Jackson's number 3. And Jackson just lost a starting spot like that this summer. But so 2 fantastic players. They'll be really good for Chelsea.
Yeah, no, certainly. I mean, like you said, different backgrounds, but obviously adding Pedro, I mean, looks like he's probably gonna end up starting for the team, and then Cole Palmer, obviously a star. Like, a lot of people want to see him in the England lineup for the World Cup next year. So I mean, that should
he'll
be
be there.
Yeah,
I can bet my house on it. He'll be there.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess in other thoughts from yesterday's game, some of the other things were pretty exciting too, like the halftime show. I was watching the game at home.
Yeah,
and that was, I mean, they had like Bad Bunny, they had Doja Cat, they had Coldplay making a surprise. Yeah, J Balvin. Yeah, what did you? What did you think of all of that? Not Bad Bunny, J Balvin.
Yeah, I mean, again, I couldn't really hear the music in the press box.
Oh, true. Yeah, you're in the box.
You hear it through the speakers. I knew some of the songs.
Right.
I was actually writing a lot because, again, I had everything. I wrote a lot about, like, I pre-wrote most of my article about PSG winning.
Oh.
Usually I try to have both sides written to be safe, but I'm like, there's no way in heck that PSG loses this game.
Wow.
And
they did.
Obviously that happened. So I was like, not scrambling, but like had to like figure out like how I wanted to like piece my article.
Because you have to publish it like pretty quickly, like after.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to leave the press box early to get down to the mix zone area, which is where we interview the players.
Oh, true.
To get a good spot. So like, I had to head down like the 80th minute, so I had to make sure like it was pretty much done and ready to go.
Wow.
My editors could just finish it up, whatever, and put an image on it. But yeah, so I mean, I looked up at the the little spot and the seats where they took out, which actually fun fact, when I was leaving the same walk to my car, I saw the seats they took out on MetLife. They took seats out for that little stage at the top.
Oh, right, yeah.
A bunch of seats are just like in the parking lot somewhere, which is pretty funny.
Well, I guess
because the stadium was
season, so like,
yeah. I mean, the stadium was 81K. The attendance, it would have been sold out if it wasn't for that section they took out for the little halftime show. So it was like 98% full. So that basically would have been full. It would have been sold out if it wasn't for that stage they did. Which, why didn't they just put it on the field or the pitch?
That's what I was thinking. Like, I was like, why is it like so high? Like, I don't know. Like
the World Cup final next year, they're gonna do a halftime show. It's gotta be on the pitch.
Yeah, it can't be up there. Have it like in the third 300s. It's just, I mean, it's so high up. I remember like a long time ago, I went to a Giants Jets preseason game and we were like seated there because, it's preseason, like you don't want to spend a lot of money, whatever, but it's the first time going. But I mean, it was basically up that high. And I don't know. It's like weird because now the fans are like looking up. Like, it's just like, I don't know. But I mean, I thought the show was good. I mean, it was a little interesting for sure. I think Coldplay definitely brought an element to it. I mean, me and my sister were watching it, and I guess she's also into like the pop music and stuff. So it was cool because neither of us like are huge soccer fans, but it was like, it's a way to like kind of bring the more casual fan into the experience. Obviously, it's a big game, and it was cool. Like brought Doja, brought J Balvin, obviously big like Latin American culture with soccer and everything. So I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. Did you like see what happened after the game? There's like a huge fight with like PSG players. Just like, I guess, what did you make of like all of that kind of stuff? And then Donald Trump was at the game too, and he was doing the trophy presentation, or he was there, he was celebrating with the team. I don't know. I just thought there's a lot of wacky stuff going on towards the end of that game. I mean, I guess, was it PSG just kind of upset because they got humiliated? Like, what was that like kind of like all about?
Yeah, so someone asked Joao Pedro post-game about what happened with Luis Enrique. And Joao Pedro spoke in Portuguese, so I was able to tried to translate what I could. Basically, he just said that he didn't say what led to Luis Enrique kind of grabbing his neck, which I don't care what happens. That's unacceptable. You can never do that.
Right.
Player or coach. Yeah. But Joao Pedro was kind of like not defending him, but just kind of playing off, saying, it's football. It happens. It's a final. Emotions are high. Right. So I don't know what was said, what led Luis Enrique to doing that. If Joao Pedro maybe did something previously.
Yeah.
So something to hit one of the players.
Like, doing that was like,
It's very unprofessional. I mean, Luis Enrique is a veteran in the game. So really shocking stuff there. I think that was just people saying, "Oh, these teams don't care about the Club World Cup. This is a stupid tournament." I mean, that tells you otherwise.
Yeah.
They definitely care.
Yeah.
Levi Colwell, the defender from Chelsea, said this tournament means more than the UCL to him, which I don't think that's true at all. That's a crazy thing to say. But if he wants to say it, he can say it, whatever.
I mean, hey, they won it, so,
Yeah, I guess because it's every 4 years, but, like, UCL
And it also includes all the clubs around the world versus just Europe, I guess. But, I mean,
I still think, though, Europe is just so prestigious that these teams don't come close to that.
That's true, yeah.
And then for the Donald Trump thing, I mean, the president is always kind of involved. Like in Qatar, I remember the presidents and the government body were there. I remember they when they handed Messi the trophy and everything. So that was it's always like the president of the host nation is always involved. Now for the stage part with the trophy lifting, I don't know what the heck he was doing. Someone also asked Reece James about it. Because Reece James was holding the trophies first. He's the captain. They're like, what did you say to Trump? What did he say to you? He's like, oh, he was just congratulating me, telling me good game and everything, enjoyed the moment. And then it got really loud, and he's like, looked to my left, and Trump's still there. So that's pretty. He doesn't really know what happened. Cole Palmer kind of said the same thing. In the press conference, kind of like, I was confused why he was there, but he was there. So if you want to know why he was there, I guess just ask Trump himself. That's how you're gonna do it. But some people weren't happy with that. I mean, it's kind of stupid. I think Trump shouldn't have been there, obviously, but like,
I
think he left right after. He left right after. They took more pictures. It was just more funny. It was more funny.
It was funny to see him like do the trophy. Like I understand like the presenting of the trophy is weird that he stayed on for the actual like celebration, but I guess that's just what he wanted to do in the moment. I mean, like
anything. The president was kind of ushered him to. He's like they both were there, right? The FIFA president and Trump, and the FIFA president kind of points to his left, like, all right, let's go. And Trump didn't, I guess, listen or no. Then it happened, and then he walked over again, and then Trump followed that time. So I don't know. People forget about it. Maybe not actually, but I don't know. It made for like it's pretty funny.
Yeah,
it's a meme. It's a meme.
It made for a funny, exactly, like a meme, like a memorable moment. I think I even reposted something on Twitter where someone's like, I can't believe this is a real picture. And like, I thought that was funny. So yeah, I mean, like, stuff happens. I mean, I guess on that note, so going back to the MLS, I mean, obviously, like, some of them had a disappointing showing. Obviously, Inter Miami, I think, accomplished what they set out to do, making it to the round of 16, obviously losing to PSG. But since they've returned back to MLS play, I mean, like, Inter Miami's been on fire, but Messi's been scoring like 2 goals every game, like for the past 5-6 games. Like, have you gotten to see like any of those highlights and the goals and everything? Like, it just seems like he went off on a tear. Like after this tournament, after they obviously lost in the tournament. I mean, they've been really, scoring a brace in like 5-6 straight matches is pretty like impressive, even if you are Messi. But I mean, like, I guess what's your takeaway on like Messi turning it up, like returning back to the MLS?
I have a few words to say. He's still the GOAT. That's pretty much it. I mean, I think I don't care what people say. Like, he's still the GOAT. I know he's had his moments, but like 5 straight braces in MLS. Come on, man. I know it's MLS. Like, I know, but still, it's still impressive that he's the first player to do that ever. He's got 16 goals in MLS this season. Like, 16 games, 16 goals. Also 6 assists.
Right.
He's been tearing it up. Do I think Miami will win MLS Cup? No, I don't think they will. They're definitely still a flawed squad. But Messi's Messi. 38 years old, 28 years old. He's the GOAT.
Yeah. I always.
That's all I could say.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's proving it now, and there's just nothing like the way he scores goals, and people like give him a bad rap, like who don't like him. But I mean, I think that's his technique is like so impressive, and the way he how he makes free kicks, he dribbles, like he gets open, and obviously finding the back of the net. I don't think there's like anything really like it. I mean, like, it's pretty impressive, especially at this age too. So I mean, obviously, like, they weren't really on the same level as like a PSG, but I mean, given like the MLS competition, like, he's been like on fire. So I mean, I guess we kind of did already talk about some of this like in the previous part. But I mean, obviously you're in the press box. You said it was pretty loud in there. But I guess, like, what was it like to be in attendance and covering these Club World Cup games, especially as the tournament got bigger?
Yeah. For starters, I didn't think I was going to do it this summer. I didn't even know at all. It's a process to get into this spot. Basically,
Right.
you got to get into the FIFA Media Hub, which is basically actually it's what it says, the media hub for all FIFA events, tournaments. So like the Club World Cup, the World Cup, and that's pretty much it. Like stuff like that. Basically stuff run by FIFA.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not easy, but I had to go to a USMNT game in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually ended up working to get me in. The NYC games weren't cutting it. They wanted like something bigger, I guess. So I did the U.S. men's national team friendly versus Turkey in Connecticut at UConn's football stadium on June 7th. They lost 2-1, but NYCFC goalkeeper Matt Freese made his international debut, which is pretty cool to see. I got to talk to him after. And then he went crazy at the Gold Cup. That's our boy right there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he went crazy. Good for him. Great guy. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, and then, I was like, I got accepted in the media hub. Let me try to cover a Club World Cup game or two, and then I got in. I got invited for that, and then I was able to cover the games, which is pretty sick. I never thought I would have this chance this summer, and I'm glad it happened, obviously. But I will say it's very different because I go from press boxes at Rutgers and at NYCFC where it's strictly just like pretty much Americans, and in here there's Turkish people, Egyptian people, Spanish people,
right.
Portuguese people. It's everything. It's crazy. And even other things like the press conferences, like you have to download an app where there's like translation, like live translation for like all the not all the languages, but like like Spanish, English, and then like whatever the teams are. Like it's like a Turkish team or like a Portuguese team, stuff like that. So German team. So it's like very different experience and very eye opening because that really shows like. That's like the big league. So, and then like even just the mix zone, for Real Madrid, like people everywhere trying to talk to the players, like people shouting questions. It's insane. It's literally insane. Could be a little stressful. Could be a little bit annoying at times where you're like, oh, it's just too much.
Yeah.
But the experience is still cool. I got to ask Reece James and Levi Caldwell questions yesterday, which is pretty sick. It was pretty cool, yeah. What was I gonna say? But yeah, it was a great experience doing it. And now that I got there, I think maybe next year I can cover World Cup games. Hopefully, I'm really hoping so. That would be sick. That's like
that's the ultimate.
Like now that possibility is there, I'm like, whoa, like
you gotta
I didn't even realize. I'm hoping now.
Yeah, hopefully that works out for you. I mean, that would be the ultimate. And especially again, like at MetLife, same thing. There's gonna be, I think the semis and final are there. I mean, a lot of group stage games. So like a lot of
and even in Philly, I'm trying to go to the Philly games too.
Exactly, that's not like very far from here either.
No, I'm gonna go if I can.
Yeah, you should definitely do that. I mean that's pretty awesome. So I mean, like you said, you kind of like pre-wrote like a lot of your articles, but like while the game was going on, you kind of, I guess you're live tweeting and you're also like trying to write like how does that process exactly work when you're like in the press box and like you're kind of like writing the game, like are you like writing the article as the game goes on, or is it kind of like half and half, like with pre-stuff and then like kind of editing it? Like what's that process like while you're actually doing it?
So at Hudson River Blue, we kind of just like two things for for my team is a little different, but for this we were doing a thing where it's like there's an instant reaction article which comes right after the game ends, like a few thoughts on the game, a few like subheads about the game, and there's a recap which goes up the next morning. So that's kind of like you can go home, get your thoughts together, write a recap. That's usually more in depth and also features like quotes and everything. So for NYCFC games, I kind of do game recaps a little bit more sometimes because I like to go to the players after, talk to them, and write a recap with like quotes from the coach and everything. But this, I wanted to have that experience where it's like I like the deadline pressure. So what I did was I did all instant reactions for each game, usually about 3 or 4 thoughts per game. So for example, let's say Chelsea's game. It's just a good example. The first thought I did was about João Pedro. I mean, that game I kind of wrote the IR all as it was happening because I didn't really have much to think. I didn't know what I was gonna say. Like I feel like it was kind of like a game. I was like, what do I say here? Because Chelsea can go to their second ever Club World Cup final, or Fluminense could pull off the upset and become the first. Not the first. They would have went back to the final for the second straight tournament. That's what it was. So it was kind of like that. but the story kind of wrote itself. I mean, Joao Pedro in his first start against his boyhood club gets 2 goals in the first half, so that was definitely a thought. Talking about the Fluminense fans, maybe I should pull up the article. I can support myself. And then I talked about the fan bases, obviously, like I said. I mentioned so for Chelsea, they have a player named Moises Caicedo. He's an Ecuadorian midfielder. He's got a huge following. Kind of reminds me of the Shohei Ohtani following in the MLB. A lot of Ecuadorian fans were there just to watch Moises Caicedo. I saw a ton of Ecuadorian kits.
Yeah, I saw a lot of flags.
Ecuadorian flags, yes. So if you saw yellow shirts in the crowd on Sunday, that's why. And then my last takeaway was just Chelsea back in the final. And kind of talking about their run to the final. I mean, there was no secret that was an easier run. Yeah. But they probably proved everyone wrong by beating PSG. But in that moment, I was just talking about how they're back in the final, and it's gonna be a tough game against PSG. I wrote something like there'll be underdogs against PSG, who just won their first ever UCL this past May, and stuff like that. So depending on the game, I pre-write some stuff like the semifinal of Real Madrid and PSG. I pre-wrote ahead about Real Madrid in the final and PSG in the final, because that game I didn't know which way it was going to go. I thought it was going to be a really close game. Obviously ended up being one-sided. But yeah, it's mostly I write a lot during the game, and then I watch obviously when I can. But usually, I like to basically plan ahead for both outcomes when possible.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, so as it is, it's tough to probably write an article during the game, while you're watching it. So you definitely want to have some things ironed out. So it's not
just go into the game and just know what you want to just you got to have some background knowledge. You got to know some stuff.
Is that kind of also how it worked when you're for the Targum and stuff like that, when you're covering live games over there? Do you kind of have that same process of kind of having an outline and then kind of tweaking it as you go about? Is that kind of the general procedure?
Yeah, the only difference is at the Targum, I'm the editor, so I can just publish it myself. I have editors who do it, which actually can be better at times because I just send it off to them, they take care of it, and I go to I go to the press conference. At Rutgers, it's more like I gotta do it while I'm at the press conference real quick and finish it up, add a picture, whatever. So I kind of someone's having the editor there, so you can go and read it over, make sure it looks good while I go and do my other stuff. And here it is, fix whatever needs to be fixed. That's it. So there's pros and cons to it. Before I was the editor at Rutgers, I'd send it over to the old editors, and they'd read it and everything. So that was a whole other process too. But that's a little different at Targum. But I still I put the deadline pressure on myself at Rutgers. At the Targum, I'm let me get it in as fast as I can, just to have that deadline pressure. Just to get the experience.
Yeah, definitely, because I guess that's the expectation. All these articles that pop up immediately after any game, it's how do they do that? Well, now now how they do that, because they're working on it during that's the reason they're going to the game, working on it. Probably pre-write a lot of stuff too. So, yeah, I mean, I guess another thing was this is kind of a lead up to the World Cup in a way. It's kind of a test run for the stadiums and infrastructure. What were conditions at MetLife? What were the logistics like? I mean, I know it was hot. They had cooling breaks yesterday, but how did everything kind of work out? The fan experience, the heat, the logistics of getting in and out. I mean, I know that's a crowded place for the Giants and Jets, as bad as they've been. So how's that? How did that all kind of work out with international soccer? I mean, it probably, magnified the, the stage that much more than even an NFL game in some ways.
I mean, I'll just say it, the traffic sucked. There's no getting around that. I mean, even though I left an hour and a half after the game ended because of the whole, post-game stuff, there was still traffic on the turnpike and everything. It was busy. Obviously, it's a lot, but it's hot. I mean, it's the summer in New Jersey, but that's what's gonna happen. It's just gonna be like that. I'm happy with the outcome of fans at the games. I think obviously the group stage games had about 45 to 50K. The Real Madrid game, the quarterfinal against Dortmund, had 76K, and then I think the PSG Real Madrid game had about 77K, 78K, and the final obviously basically sold out. So it kept going up and up and up and up, which is what you wanted. And the final was great atmosphere. I walked around the stadium right before the game started, an hour before the game started, just to kind of get a feel of it. And I'm this is really cool, just to be here for this moment, because another thing is I've never been to a final like this before. I've never I've covered like Big Ten soccer finals before. Like this is another level of
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah.
this is a completely another level. So it's like just to be there, I was like wow, like taking it all in, like seeing like
Yeah.
all the
It's gotta be
fans and
really
like just the
mind-blowing.
crowd.
Mhm.
And another thing is like there's a huge difference. It's like I left the press box earlier to go to the down to the post game area, and like I'm walking at the 80th minute. I hear the fans like getting loud for chances, and I'm like, I wish I could hear that in the press box. Like it's
Oh,
just I
true,
like
yeah.
the like
It's a different, like, experience
you need
probably,
like
yeah.
it's so cool to hear that. Like even
Yeah,
if you're a
especially
journalist,
with
like you wanna feel
yeah,
like you're a part of the atmosphere. And like I
you
feel like in the
do.
MetLife press box,
Especially for
the
soccer, it's
glasses
very
are thick,
different than,
so
like,
it's like
you know
yeah, the crowd's very
Mhm.
passionate. So like when I'm at NYCFC games, I love hearing we open the press box windows. Well, Yankee Stadium they're open already. There's no windows, but
Right.
City Field there's windows. We open the windows, but like the atmosphere part is so important,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like it's like I wish I can hear more of it in the press box,
We have to
but
also concentrate and stuff too, I guess, so
yeah, but I mean like it's still just cool to hear while you're like watching the games. Like
yeah, for
whoa,
sure. It's like surround
so
sound because it's different from, like, American football where, like, obviously big plays, like, the team gets loud, like a sack or a big, passing play, like a touchdown, obviously that kind of stuff, but, everyone's kinda quiet and tensed up. Every down is like a mathematical calculation that you're stressed out about. You know how it is, like, watching football, like, American football, that is, but soccer, it's like there's surround sound going on the whole match, there's chants, it's, like, completely, like, different, like, the crowd vibe, like, just watching it on TV, it's just, like,
mhm,
such a cool feeling. So I mean, yeah, I could definitely imagine wanting to, kind of be a part of that and take that all in, even as you like, you're busy doing your own thing. Because it's crowd experience is so important in any sport, but I mean, I feel like in soccer, it's like magnified to like a degree that maybe is even greater in some ways than like some of the American sports. So I mean, yeah, no, I mean that definitely sounds really cool. Like honestly, like I mean,
yeah, they're the best fans in the world, soccer
yeah,
fans.
soccer. I
I'm
would
not
tell you,
gonna
I would say so too.
If you
Yeah.
don't agree with me, talk to a brick wall. That's it.
Wait, if you what was that last part?
Soccer fans, the best fans in the world. If you don't agree with me, fight with a brick wall or something. I don't know.
Oh, I
It's
gotcha, I gotcha.
it's like
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, obviously, like, for you, you're probably a little biased, but in some ways, I would definitely agree with that. Like I said, like,
I mean, it's the biggest sport in the world, so
it
like,
is, it is.
there's no
I
denying
don't, I
that.
don't think I'd really argue with it in terms of passion and stuff. Like, obviously, American football passion comes out in a different way, but,
Yeah,
um,
that's pretty big too, but
it is,
soccer
it's
is just
huge.
number
But
one.
soccer is worldwide, and
Yeah,
yeah, it's just
yeah,
like I
they
said,
go crazy.
just the way the noise, like just the way that it goes. There's chants and there's this and that going on. There's flags, like you don't see like all of that, I guess, and like just how the fact that there's surround sound like the whole match, and it's just a very different vibe, I guess,
Hmm.
versus like pressure moments in American football, like bringing a quarterback down, touchdowns, like running. You know how it is. I mean, you've been there, but like So anyway, I guess moving on now to the Gold Cup. Like I guess where do we want to start with that? Like I mean the US knocking off Costa Rica in penalties, which was really
Yeah,
exciting seeing that. And
I
then
mean, I can
Guatemala.
kind of just like talk about the
Yeah,
tournament
it's
if you
bring us
want.
through, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So, this was a really important tournament because Copa America last year, they got grouped. So,
Hmm.
this was really, really big. And also keep in mind, this is the last tournament before the World Cup next year. So
True.
this was
Yeah.
like the final
Exactly.
like test for the USMT to see what they're made of. And
Right.
then Pulisic is like, I'm not playing. I
Yeah.
just played a long season at AC
That's
Milan. I'm
fair,
not
I guess.
playing.
Yeah.
I see
Just
both sides to that.
I do
That's a
see both
really
sides
weird
too. Yeah.
situation that I'm not really sure which side I want to be on.
Right.
I think it's your country. You should play for them.
I think
They
so,
need you.
especially in, like a Gold Cup, like you know what I mean. Especially because so
Yeah,
many of them took off. Like I don't know. Like I don't know how I
and then
feel about that personally.
yeah, I mean, but besides him, obviously Weston McKennie, Tim Weah playing for Juve for the Club World Cup,
That's true.
and
Yeah.
then some of their best players, Jedi Robinson, Serginho Dest, who else is it? Florian Belugan, all out with injuries.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot
they're
of
missing some
reasons.
key players there.
Yeah,
But then
that's
that brings up Pochettino's like, you know what? That's gonna happen. Well, let's see these other guys who they're made of. See if they can potentially break into the World Cup squad next year. And I
mhm.
think Malik Tillman, Diego Luna did so. Full
Yeah,
bias right here. Matt Freeze did. I
yep.
think he should be the starter. And I again maybe some bias in that, but Matt Turner is not cutting it. If you ask me, who else? Just some other guys had decent performances where I think maybe there'll be shouts, but we'll see. Um, so looking at the tournament, I mean, you know, the U.S. is pretty good in the Gold Cup. They're not Mexico level. They're pretty good. So everyone's saying final, make the final.
Right.
That's what they had to do, and
Yep.
they did. a little bit nervy at times, beating Saudi Arabia 1-0. Guatemala, like it shouldn't have been that close. They were leading 2-0, and then Guatemala scored, and the last 10 minutes were really nervy, really nervy. That was pretty scary, but they survived. And then the Costa Rica game. I mean, that was a great game because it was Matt Freese versus Alonso Martinez, and Martinez is NYCFC striker, and he's on Costa Rica. So it's pretty cool to see. And his penalty against Matt Freese, I don't know if you noticed this, but like Martinez like kind of smiled and winked. That's because him and Freese are teammates at NYCFC.
Yeah.
So
playing
it was pretty
penalty shootout.
So fun fact actually, someone asked Alonso this actually after NYC's recent game a couple weeks ago, like 12 to 11 days ago after the Gold Cup. Did you talk to Matt Freese before the penalty kick? And Alonso was like, yeah, I told him I was going right. Or no, I was going down the middle. And Matt Freese didn't believe him. He went to the right. But Alonso's down the middle. So Alonso was kind of playing a little bit of a, poker with Matt Freese here, saying, hey, I'm going down the middle. So you want to save it? You want to, save it? Go for it. That's where I'm going. Freese didn't believe him because Freese knows that he takes the penalties mostly to the keeper's right. So Freese is like, no, he's playing me, and went down the middle. Freese then saves 3 straight penalty kicks.
Yeah, that was
funny how he didn't save his teammate's penalty kick, but he saved everyone else's in Costa Rica. And great performance from him. Off to the final, off to the semifinals. And then the final, not really a great game. I know Chris Richards opens the scoring. Same as that play against Saudi Arabia. Berhalter free kick to Chris Richards. Boom, goal. Great stuff from the two of them. Great link up. Oh, I'm also talking about players that are great. Chris Richards, fantastic player. He is the starting center back next year for the World Cup for USA. That's already set. I can bet my life on it again. Other center back, not sure. I don't know what they're going to do. Don't play Tim Ream. 37 years old.
Yeah.
Don't play him. He can't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
But what else was I saying? Oh, yeah, the Mexico, goes on to win the game. It's not really a great game. Mexico, there was a handball.
Yeah, there's some.
That was a bad call.
Yeah, that was
a bad call.
Yeah.
But you say still that's their B team, maybe even their C team, maybe like a C plus team a little bit at times.
Maybe
with some of the players. But so the Gold Cup is kind of like you look at this and you're like, what do we get from the tournament? What do we learn? And I guess you could just say is that hey, there's some guys that are decent. Like I said, Diego Luna, Malik Tillman, Chris Richards is obviously great. Matt Freese, there's another goalie that could be the starter.
Yeah.
So obviously the hope was to win the title and beat Mexico again, like they had done in the past. But Mexico came out on top, and now there's a year out to the World Cup. The next game they play, the next competitive game they'll play will be their World Cup opener in California next June, which is crazy thing about that's the next competitive game.
I know.
They have friendlies lined up.
Yeah.
But it sucks because you really wanted that A team here to see like, okay, this is the team for the World Cup next year. Let's see how they do. Yeah. But I guess when the friendlies come, within the fall and then within some of it in the spring, we'll see. But it makes me kind of sit here and wonder like how the team will do at the World Cup. Depends on the group they get, but I'm not feeling super confident that they'll make it past round 16 like they did last World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the place to build off of. Obviously, last time, I believe in the group stage they tied England, and I forgot exactly what happened. I think they tied Iran, or they beat Iran, and then they made it to round of 16. They lost to the Netherlands, and they basically had a lot of the same players, but some new ones coming in this time. Like you mentioned, they're probably going to mix some of this squad and put in, obviously have guys like Pulisic and McKinney and and Serginho Dest and the goalie thing. I mean, I think it's good to have 2 solid keepers, like at least maybe even 3. But like I think with Turner and Freese, I think they have a couple guys who can ball out. And I think you're right. Like I think Freese is probably gonna get the I don't know what they'll do honestly, because Turner's like also has he's been the guy. But like I feel like. Yeah, I mean, Freese could take over. Turner could be the backup. But I think it's good to have a second good option at the goalkeeper position, no matter what. So
they actually just announced. I just got an email like 10 minutes ago. They actually announced 2 more friendlies for the USMT in the fall. They're taking on Ecuador and Australia in mid-October. So I know they play South Korea in September at Red Bull Arena or Sports Illustrated Stadium now it's called, but that's a game like
right? Oh.
Yeah, so
I mean I know
all you guys that want to see the USMT, head over to Red Bull Arena for that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they got some friendly lineup.
That's cool. And I guess like the expectation is most of the U.S. A team is gonna play in those to prepare for the World Cup.
I think so. I think they should.
I
There's
hope
no
so.
reason why they wouldn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
I want
that's
to see that.
true. Yeah,
They should. They should.
yeah, they should, unless there's like an injury concern or something like that. But
Yeah.
that'll be good. I mean, hopefully. I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, like the expectations to hopefully build off round of 16. Obviously, there's really tough teams in the world. U.S. is kind of like somewhere. They're kind of like Mexico, but maybe like they're like top of the CONCACAF, but not really top of like the world, I guess. So they're kind of in that middle stage. But I mean, obviously, you have to build off where you are. And I mean, so with so many of their top players playing in Europe and stuff like that, I mean, they have some talent. So I mean, we'll see like what they could do. Obviously, the home crowd environment. I don't know if it's going to really be like a home base environment thing, because obviously fans are going to be there, but there's definitely going to be a lot of American support.
Oh yeah.
For sure. I mean, like, that's their home thing. So the American Outlaws will be there. I love seeing like all the flags and all the things, and it's even like with the American soccer fans, it's just a different vibe than like the other sports. You know what I mean? Just like the crowd and everything. But I mean, I guess speaking of friendlies, like going over to the women's side, like they also had a few friendlies recently. They won, I think, twice against Ireland. They won against Canada 3-0. I think it was the score on that one. 4-0 twice against Ireland. Some new player. I just saw Tobin Heath retired and some other women's soccer news. But I mean, I guess if you had a chance to like watch any or see anything, like they're making some lineup changes, kind of like just like the men's team also getting ready for the next Women's World Cup. So what obviously a lot of change with the women's team. I mean, Rapinoe retired, Morgan retired. So a lot of new faces coming in. So like, what do you make of like? Did anyone kind of stand out in those friendlies that kind of like we talked about the men's team, like that are going to be in the potentially be in that World Cup squad that they're looking to break into the lineup now, I guess?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Roosevelt.
Yeah,
She's been pretty
Roosevelt's
good.
very good.
Pretty good back from
Yeah,
injury. Obviously, World Cup next year in Brazil for the women's team. Not next year, sorry, 2027. So
right,
2 years.
right.
But yeah, they had a bad World Cup last time. So then I think they lost to Sweden on penalties.
Yeah,
I'm
and
correct, something
in
like that.
penalties, I
Not
believe, round of
They got a
16.
ton of hate, not good stuff from them.
Yeah, I
Leaving that
remember
tournament.
that.
So this is exactly what you want from them. I mean, they're winning friendlies comfortably, and you're seeing players obviously develop and do good. I mean, Smith is obviously a good forward for the USWNT. So they got good players, and they're dominating friendlies. And then like, remember, just this USA team is one of the best in the country. So this is what you want. This is what you
Yeah,
expect.
yeah.
So take these. Some of these friendlies are a little bit easier than others, so kind of like take it with a grain of salt. They're not playing the best opponents at all times, but like Canada's pretty decent, Ireland's but like they're winning the games comfortably, and which is what they should do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, definitely the women's team, like, with the exception of the last Women's World Cup, but then they won the Olympics. I mean, they've been like one of, if not the best team, I think. And before that, I think they won like 3 in a row or something like that. They've always been up there. The men's team quite hasn't been on quite that level, but I mean, the women's team's definitely, one of the best, if not the best in the world. So hopefully we see them get back to their success. Yeah, I mean, I guess another, women's team note or NWSL note that, obviously, Rutgers fans would like, could take pride in. Riley Tiernan in the NWSL. I mean, she's had a terrific first season. I think I wrote an article on her on the Banks like I want to say a couple months ago now, maybe a month ago, but on her success. I think at the time she had like 6 goals, so there might be more. But I mean, like, obviously you covered her at Rutgers, both for the radio and for the Targum, and like you're like one of the big soccer guys, so you followed her and you followed the team and you saw her success at Rutgers. But I mean, like, what do you make of her success on the professional level? I mean, obviously, like, was it like unexpected or kind of expected? Because as good as she was at Rutgers, I don't think like people thought she was gonna break out the way she did in year one in Angel City, basically.
Yeah, I mean, she's been great. I didn't expect her to be this good, but I didn't even know she was gonna get picked into the NWSL. She
Yeah.
wasn't drafted, but she got added it was kind of like as a free agent, I guess you could say. But 7 goals in the Golden Boot race in the NWSL. All props to her. She's been fantastic.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, yeah, obviously she was one of the major stars on a Rutgers women's soccer. We just added 8 players. I just wrote an article on that for the 2025 season as well. So I mean, that's building on a year where I mean, you're covering them, like, so they went to the Big Ten championship. They made the NCAA tournament. Didn't really advance all that far, losing to UConn. But I guess what are your thoughts on like I guess where the Rutgers women's team, and maybe we could just maybe also the men's team, like where do you think the two soccer programs are headed for Rutgers while we're on the topic of soccer?
So I guess for the women's team, they actually lost Shayla Bradley. She went got transferred. She transferred to, the name's escaping me right now.
I
I
think I
forgot,
saw
but
it somewhere too, but yeah.
somewhere she left. Obviously, Riley Tiernan. They're obviously losing their UNC. I knew it
Right.
was a blue school.
Mm.
So what was I saying? Oh yeah, that was a big loss, and they obviously lost some of their seniors: Riley Tiernan, Cass Banks, Emily Mason. I'm not really sure what to make of the transfers and the freshmen yet. I haven't obviously seen the team play yet, so we'll see with the non-con games how they look. Men's team has also hit the portal pretty well. Added some international players. I believe they added a French player. I have kind of forgotten that much research on the teams yet because it's not really soccer time for them yet for me to start
Yeah.
preparing. But they added a
Especially in the
German
off
center back, I
season.
think. I can't really remember everybody, but the women's team on paper is always kind of better than the men's team recently. But I don't know. We'll see the men's team. Maybe their transfer portal acquisitions will work out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we hope so. Yeah, it seems like it's been a busy portal season for Rutgers in multiple sports. Football's like revamped. Basketball. I mean, we'll talk about some of the Rutgers talk like right at the end of this episode. But I guess speaking of that, actually, I mean, NBA Summer League's going on. What are your like initial thoughts on how Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey have played so far? I mean, I know Ace Bailey, he struggled in his first game. He's rebounded in the second game. Dylan Harper had a very good first game. He had 16 points. He had a block. I mean, what are your thoughts on both of the Rutgers guys and NBA Summer League so far?
Yeah, I mean, Harper's been great. I've seen more of Harper than Bailey, honestly. Like
Yeah,
just like highlights and everything. Harper's been doing exactly what is expected of him. Bailey, what is he? He was hurt a little bit, right?
he was. He hasn't played the last 3 games, so like I'm actually supposed to write something for on the banks again for like the Jazz Spurs because it's the big Rutgers showdown. But I'm not really sure what the status is on Ace Bailey, so we'll have to see closer to game time. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I think like I guess the theme with all these guys, and even like Cooper Flag, who had kind of a bad first game, at least shooting wise, and I mean, even Con Knipple, who's like a known shooter, kind of struggled in the beginning. I think it usually does take a game to let the nerves settle in, and sometimes
Yeah.
basketball is all about it's a make or miss league, as they like to say in the NBA. So it's like, I mean, they tend to have a good first game in other ways, and then the shooting and the scoring follows. I think Dylan Harper kind of broke that trend a little bit. He kind of had a little bit of everything. He had a block. He had 16 points. He had, I think, a couple of steals. He had, I think, 5 assists. Hope I'm not getting that stat line wrong, but around there. And Ace Bailey, had a tough first game, but in the second game he made 3 3-pointers. I think Cooper Flag also did. He had 31 and with the Mavs, and then now they're shutting him down. But I mean, I think one of the storylines of summer league is, I mean, I guess players are kind of just sitting because, they have minor injuries. They don't want to overexert them. I don't know. I think it's like a little bit unfortunate because I feel like a lot of these guys could probably play, but, obviously you want to take health precautions. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like, there's a big load management problem in the NBA. At the same time, like, you don't want guys getting injured like in a meaningless game. I mean, we saw what happened with Halliburton, like going down in the NBA finals, and like now he's gonna miss like all next season. This is just, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know like what the thoughts are, but I mean, in terms of Ace Bailey, like, I mean, hopefully like he does return to the lineup. I mean, I feel like a lot of these top guys have been missing more time, and I guess it got me thinking, like, where are these injuries like coming from? Because they haven't played basketball in like 3 months, but maybe
Maybe
it's just,
practice.
yeah, maybe practice, or maybe it's like the stopping and starting again. Sometimes that like they seem to be like strains and stuff, but or maybe they're just, yeah, probably practice and probably just just taking precautions that you wouldn't usually take to rest the guys up. But I mean, hopefully Ace Bailey, we do see him today. I don't know. I mean, I guess me and you, we both covered the team. You've been involved actively with Rutgers, and you've called men's basketball games. You've written about them, etc. So, like, what does it mean to see the two guys in the NBA that you've been watching? Obviously, you've covered, and then potentially scoring off against each other. Like, I mean, obviously, for Rutgers fans, it means a lot. So, like, what does it mean to you to see the two of them like in the NBA, and they're both going to be stars on top of that? Yeah, top 5 picks.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I wish we had more time with just broadcast or watching their games, writing about them, reporting on them. It's awesome. Great players.
Yeah.
Just great that Rutgers was able to get them in the first place. They were able to commit to Rutgers.
Right.
I still wish I would have done more. It still
Yeah,
pains.
those are rough
Still
seasons.
pains.
But
But
yeah.
great for them. Great guys. Nothing but fantastic basketball players.
Yeah. I can't wait to see them on the next. Dylan Harper is going to be great, and then Ace Bailey, a little bit more of a project, but he's also going to be great. He has probably the highest, if one of the highest upsides in the class. I mean, his shooting, scoring ability, like the Jazz got a good one. There's a lot of controversy over like what he was doing with the workout process, but he cleaned that up pretty quickly. He went there, he worked. He's got, even though it wasn't Brooklyn, unfortunately. Yeah, or Washington, one of the other teams, but I mean, like it was still pretty good showing for Ace Bailey. He's definitely turned the narrative around. I guess going into next year's football and basketball talk, while we're on the Rutgers subject. What are your like expectations for like next season for football? Obviously, there's been a lot of portal ads. Two that I like to talk about a lot are Bradley Weaver and Eric O'Neal on the edges. DT Sheffield, the receiver, and the passing offense looks good. The defense, I think, is going to be a step up, but like the schedule is also very brutal. So, where do you see like the football team like stacking up? And then I guess the same for men's basketball, big transfer portal upheaval. They've added international guys like Ruben Zerno and Dennis Battleout. They've added guys like Darren Buchanan, a lot of new guys coming in, a lot of people left in the portal. Like the roster looks completely different. But I guess what are your thoughts on like where the football and basketball team is? And if you want to include like women's basketball in this too, because there's been a lot of portal stuff for them. Like where do you see the three of those teams going for next football season or next Rutgers sports season as a whole?
Yeah, it's interesting because football obviously is a really tough schedule compared to last season. So we'll see how that works. But they've been, like you said, great in the portal. So I still think they still could make a bowl game. Just gotta win. Gotta get those wins they need to win because some games that are kind of tossed with their schedule. Gotta win those important games. They got a tough schedule this year. Men's basketball. Yes, it's been a good, maybe not good is the word, but decent offseason with the players. They got the talented younger players, like you said. How'd you say his name? Harin Zuru? I don't know, I don't pronounce it
Harin
wrong.
Zerno, I think it's the way to
Harin
pronounce it.
Zerno, yeah. He looks like a great player. Got him over. He's originally going to go to IU, so it's a good little
It's a
flip
good
there,
game.
decommitment for us.
Yeah. I think the shooting and sorry, I like to cut you out. Like I think shooting and the center position, I think are going to be the key because like I think Zerno is going to bring shooting to the offense. They're supposed to kind of have with PJ Hayes, didn't really work out too well. Tyson Acuff was pretty good as a 3-level scorer altogether and a shooter.
Yeah, I just think that the players, we'll see how they kind of stack up.
We'll
I think it'll be
see.
a tough year for Rutgers, honestly, basketball wise.
Yeah.
Probably towards the bottom of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It's what it is. Yeah, there's a weird like thing where they might somehow actually be better than they were last year or maybe as good.
No
they weren't
way.
all that.
That's
They
crazy.
weren't
I
all
don't
that.
think so.
Yeah, maybe not. They weren't really the bar is kind of low-ish, but again, like without having that high-end talent on the roster. I guess the theory like behind that would be like they play more defensive, like Steve Pikiell oriented style, like, and then I feel like for some reason that might actually translate.
It works.
It might, and plus they're playing a very easy non-conference schedule aside from the Vegas trip, so there hopefully won't be any tournament damaging wins because you know how like with the quad system, how easy it is to get yourself thrown out of the NCAA tournament before conference play even starts or when it starts. So like hopefully there won't be any of that kind of stuff going on, but yeah, hopefully we'll see where they end up stacking up. I don't. Hopefully it's not too much worse. Hopefully they at least make the Big Ten tournament and keep things competitive. Obviously the Big Ten's a loaded conference, so it's going to be tough. But I guess another thing in the Rutgers sphere, I just saw today, like Rutgers, they have hired an interim AD, Matthew. Oh my goodness, Colagiovanni. I guess he's been involved with the Rutgers athletic program for some time. So obviously Ryan Passari left for Tufts. Obviously Pat Hobbs resigned like almost a year ago. It's been, some time and they still haven't had a permanent hire, but I guess this kind of stops the bleeding for now for Rutgers because obviously going into the season without an interim AD even would be basically impossible. So, what's your thought on like the whole AD situation at Rutgers and do you have when do you think that's going to get resolved by? Do you have any speculations on who the guy might be in terms of next season?
I haven't seen anything really about who the guy could be for next season. I haven't seen like, pretty much anything.
Yeah, it only
The only thing I've
projects.
seen,
Are kind of
only thing I've really seen online is just people complaining like, "What's taking so long, and why are
yeah.
you hiring this guy?
Because I think other
What have they been doing
schools
for the
like
past
have been
year?"
able to resolve the same problem in like a matter of weeks. And Rutgers, it's almost been like a full
Yeah, what's taking
year.
so long? That's basically my takeaways. Okay,
It is,
cool, but why don't you have somebody else? Someone should be here already. Come on,
they should. I
what's
mean,
taking so long?
maybe there's some SEC ties with William Tate coming in as president, and who
I'm
knows?
thinking so.
Yeah, I think that might be a good thing too, because obviously, just like the Big Ten, SEC is really big in like all sports. I mean, football, basketball, baseball, you name it. So like, if you can manage an athletic department there, you certainly can here. You maybe even bring the best parts of the South and college, athletics
Yeah,
down there
maybe.
up here. Yeah, maybe. I mean, hopefully. So, I mean, I guess final thing here, in terms of Rutgers news, Trevor Cohen being selected by the San Francisco Giants in the MLB draft. Again, like, we all talk about. I'm not sure. Did he cover like? I'm sure you covered like Rutgers baseball for Radio and Targum in some form. I mean, you've seen the guy play and everything, and
Yeah, he's
obviously
good.
he had a historic season like as a batter. Really, hard to strike out. Had a really high percentages. I mean, like, what do you think? Yeah, I mean, like, going to the Giants, like, what do you think? What do you make of that? I guess as a prospect. I mean, obviously, he's not going to be on the San Francisco Giants like tomorrow. Like, it's going to take some time if he does end up getting there. But what do you think of
Could take
him?
years, honestly.
Yeah, it could take years. But what do you think of him as like a prospect? I mean, his numbers in college, like his batting percentage is just incredibly high. His strikeout percentage is incredibly low. I mean, I think there's a lot that, I mean, I think the concern for him would probably be in the field. I mean, as an outfielder, but I mean, I don't think he's bad by any means. But like, I guess, what do you see of him in the MLB and the pro leagues, as he makes his way towards, MLB, eventually, hopefully the actual San Francisco Giants. But I mean, a pretty high pick. I mean, third round, like 85th pick. I don't think it's bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, definitely showed the potential he had collegiately at Rutgers. Kind of like other guys that have been drafted in the MLB from Rutgers baseball, you kind of have to make it to the farmer system now, whatever. Like kind
Yeah,
of, Josh Grauer has made his way up to the A's system. We've seen him rise through the ranks pretty quickly. So it's kind of that process. You got to, be
yeah.
consistent and just kind of follow that, that performance you had in college over into the, majors, well, minors, to hopefully then to the majors one day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, have like the other guys like Ryan Lasko and Kuroda Grauer, like how far have they like made it up the ranks yet? Like
I'm
have they
actually not sure.
You're not
Not gonna
sure,
lie.
but they probably have made it up decently far. Well, I
At
mean,
least
yeah,
like double A for one of them, I think.
probably
Double
double,
A.
triple. I don't
Maybe
know.
one of them even got to triple. I'm not sure.
Triple A. All right. Well, I mean, I think that covers all the Rutgers talk. I guess that will do it here for this episode of Sports Vibe. I think for my plans with this series, we're going to take a little bit of a lull. Obviously, with football season starting up again in August, we want to do, NFC and AFC previews. We want to do a college football preview. But we're probably going to keep episodes to that. I'll try to see who else I can get for just vibing in the meantime. But yeah, I mean, this has been a little soccer special edition of Sports Vibe, as well as NBA Summer League, just some Rutgers talk as well. In the meantime, we will see you next time. And as I like to say now, the vibes are always high on Sports Vibe.